Hey guys, the Firebird is here. It's just me. I'm still alive, and I know some of you guys have been worried because I haven't uploaded in like, what, a week about now? And there's a good reason for that. In case you guys haven't watched my previous video where I talked about another missing character from the movies, I mentioned that my videos are gonna be slowing down because college is starting up. I'm taking online classes, so it's gonna be easy for me to make videos, but at the same time I can't promise that I'm gonna be making them or uploading them with the same speed I've been doing pre me returning to college. Now that we got those news out of the way, it's time to talk about the lie. You, my friend, you watching this video are being deceived. At least I think you are. It's more of a theory. So, before we begin this video, I think I should give you some context. When Transformers War For Cybertron came out, the Siege part, the first chapter, we got a toyline full of different and various toys. We got the Battle Masters, which were mini Transformers that could turn into weapons, kind of like the Minicons once did. We got the Micro Masters that can, mix and match and form weapons, kind of like the Minicons did. And then we got your standard Transformers, Deluxe class, Voyager class, Leader class, and we got a Commander class Jetfire, a Titan class Omega Supreme, and tons of Generation Selects exclusives, along with other store exclusives such as the exclusive Refractor Team Pack, which made a small cameo. Now the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, well, not everything that appeared in the toy line actually got to make an appearance in the show. Certain things that the toys showcase that they could do didn't appear in the show itself. Ultra Magnus, never, broke up his armor, and then we got to see him as a white version of Optimus Prime. That never actually happened. The Micromasters and Battle Masters were completely absent from the show itself. There's only so many characters you can add into the show, and not all of them will have, gotten the same amount of screen time had they appear, so I understand why some characters had to be cut. But at its core, the story of Transformers Siege was pretty simple. The Autobots are losing the war, the Decepticons are winning, they're trying to find them, they're fighting all over the planet, and the Autobots are trying to leave. That's, the gist of it. It's pretty simple. But then we move on to Earthrise. Now, the way Earthrise seems to be marketed is that this is when the Autobots and Decepticons arrive on Earth and they start getting their vehicle modes, their Earth vehicle modes. So we got Earth Wheeljack, Earth Bumblebee, Earth Cliffjumper, Earth Optimus, and so on. And at the beginning I was like, hey, that's pretty simple, but it makes sense. After Siege, I think that is the logical conclusion. But then I started thinking and taking a harder look at some of the releases, the artwork, and the characters that we were shown. And honestly, I don't think War For Cybertron Earthrise is gonna involve Earth much at all. Yes, I believe that the Fire Brothers, have discovered a subterfuge so horrendously diabolical that only I could discover it. And it's just a theory, by the way, so if this doesn't become true, that's my excuse. Anyway, so the sequel to the Siege Netflix series is gonna be Earthrise, As far as we know, it's gonna come out next year. Supposedly, it's not confirmed, but supposedly it's gonna be around next year to coincide with the toy line that's going on right now. And by the time the Earthrise series comes out, we're gonna start getting new releases for the Kingdom toy line that's gonna include Beast Wars. Now, the series are heavily inspired by the toy line itself. All the characters from the Siege on Cybertron show are clearly inspired for the Siege on Cybertron toy line. So the same thing is likely gonna happen for Earthrise. The problem with Earthrise is that we don't really know what the story is. I mean, we do know that the Autobots make it to Earth. The artwork kinda spoils it. But then we have plenty of other elements that don't involve Earth, that are basically things that could only happen or are most likely to happen outside the planet. We got the Ark chasing the Nemesis, which is probably the event that causes the Ark to basically, land on Earth. You got the Quintessons that we know are located in Aquatron. We got the mercenaries who we know for a fact don't have Earth vehicle modes. Well, some of them sort of do, but some of them don't. So my guess is that in the series we're probably gonna see them as space pirates. We got Unicron, who's a giant freaking planet. I don't see how he's gonna, make his appearance on Earth. And then we got Shockwave, who we know for a fact gets left behind on Cybertron. And if you guys don't believe me, we haven't gotten a single Shockwave Earthrise toy yet, and I'm not counting recolors, repacks, or whatever. I'm talking about an exclusive, Earthrise Shockwave with a new Earth vehicle mode. We haven't gotten that. My guess is that they're gonna go the whole G1 route and they're gonna keep Shockwave on Cybertron, much like how they kept Leader 1 on Cybertron to coincide with G1. And if that wasn't enough, recently we've been getting Transformers that belong on other planets, like Ratchet and Lifeline. that's actually an exclusive store packs, and those don't seem to, play too prevalent of a role in the series itself, kind of like how the exclusive refractors didn't have a really huge involvement in the Siege series, and they were kind of just relegated to a cameo. But when you're taking into account what we've seen here and like what we've seen on the artwork, it kinda leads me to believe that we're probably going to see the Autobots and Decepticons chase each other through space for most of the series, and them arriving to Earth is gonna be a plot point that's only gonna happen towards the end of the series. My reasoning for this is that, well, in the packaging for Earthrise, if you have collected any of the Transformers toys, you're gonna get an interstellar map of the universe. It tells you like basically the different planets that are on the War For Cybertron universe right now. We got Velocitron, Aquatron, Paradon, and a bunch of other planets. Now, while I highly doubt that we're gonna, be seeing the Autobots and Decepticons go from planet to planet, I do believe that the whole emphasis on the planets, like them acknowledging that Velocitron exists, that this other planet exists, leads me to believe that we're probably gonna see the Autobots and Decepticons go from planet to planet. And before you guys say something like, "Fire, but they have Earthrise vehicle modes," that means they're gonna have those modes for the entirety of the show. And it does say no, that's not entirely the case. For the Siege On Cybertron series, they had to basically make each and every model from scratch. But for Earthrise, they already had the Siege model, so they can just use those models before they arrive to Earth, and then they scan their new vehicle modes and they transform into, different vehicles. So that way, for let's say half of the series, it's very likely that we're gonna see the Autobots and Decepticons still be on their Cybertronian vehicle modes, and they're only gonna scan them once they arrived on Earth. Also, we haven't seen a single human. Keep that in mind. Typically in Transformers, when they arrive to Earth, we see at least one human. Even in Transformers Prime, where there was a bigger emphasis on the robots, we still saw humans here and there in artworks, in the descriptions of toys. They were mentioned, like saying, "I'm gonna protect the humans" and so on. But in Earthrise, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think there has been a single mention of human. Now, maybe the Autobots never get to interact with humans in Earthrise. If my theory is correct, the Autobots are gonna be chased through space by the mercenaries, by the Decepticons. They're eventually gonna encounter the Quintessons, and after one last climactic battle against Megatron and his Decepticons, the Ark is gonna be shot down and it's gonna, land somewhere on Earth. After that happens, the Autobots are gonna scan their vehicle modes and they're gonna get ready for one last stand against the Decepticons. Explaining this artwork that I covered a while back, the Autobots here are ready to fight, and if you look closely at some of the artwork for some of the Earthrise packaging, you can see that the Decepticons are actually trying to raid the Ark. Well, at least they're in close proximity to the Ark, and the Autobots are playing a defensive game. So much like in G1, the Autobots and Decepticons land on Earth, but instead of like them interacting with the natives right away, they just go straight to fighting each other. And I think that's what's gonna happen in Earthrise. If Earthrise ends up being, let's say, 6 episodes like Siege was, my guess is that around the 4th episode, the Autobots are gonna land on Earth, and the Decepticons are also gonna do the same thing. They're gonna scan the Earth vehicle modes, and that's when the final fight's gonna start. The Autobots and Decepticons are gonna fight, and something weird with the Allspark, or like whatever new MacGuffin they decide to add to the series, is gonna be the driving force that's gonna take us to Kingdom. Because we still have no idea how Kingdom is going to, play out in all this. Like, from Siege to Earthrise makes sense. The Autobots leave, they land on Earth. But how do we start seeing Maximus and Predacons for Kingdom? How do we go from them landing on Earth to, like, encountering Maximus and Predacons? That's the part that I still don't get. Also, you need to keep in mind is that we haven't seen the last of Elita 1 and Shockwave. In an interview with one of the show's producers, they did mention that for Earthrise, we're actually not only going to see more mercenaries, but we're also going to be seeing what's going to happen around the universe. And getting it away from Cybertron actually had consequences in other parts of the universe. Maybe that's where Unicron comes in. Maybe he senses the Allspark and he starts like making his move and like just, makes his way through the galaxy looking for it or something like that. I don't know, like it's pretty weird. We have what's gonna be happening on Cybertron, we got the mercenaries on space, we got the Quintessons, we got the chase through space, and eventually we are gonna end up on Earth. But I definitely do believe that, well, the Erthrise toyline is leading you to believe that the Autobots are gonna be, going straight to Earth, they scan their vehicle modes, and they're gonna, be finding Decepticons on Earth for most of the series. I think they're misleading you. I'm not saying that this is like straight up misleading, because eventually the Autobots do arrive on Earth, and they scan their vehicle modes like they do in the Erthrise toyline. But what I'm saying here is that the way it happens is not gonna be the way you think. Like, you think they're gonna be on Earth for most of the series, but I think that that's a lie. I think they're gonna be, for most of the series, on space, on Cybertron, on Aquatron, on any other place other than Earth, and eventually, towards the end, they do make it to Earth. And we got that, moment that's reminiscent of G1 when they first scanned their vehicle modes, because they really do pay a lot of homage to G1. So I can easily see them do that. Like, around episode 4, before the final battle, everyone like starts preparing to scan their new Earth vehicle modes, and that's when they, get ready for the final fight towards the end of the series. And I don't know, maybe something weird happens with the Allspark and then we get Kingdom. It's gonna be really interesting to see how Kingdom factors into all of this. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, we also have GARAGEBOT, who's pretty much confirmed for Kingdom, but we don't know what kind of role he's gonna play in all of this. Like, we have so many, like, it's like I mentioned in my previous video talking about the story of Earthrise. There's so many things going around right now. There's so many things happening, so many different plans. Like, it's so hard to keep up, it's so hard to guess what the story's gonna be. And honestly, I can only see all of this working if most of, the Erthrise storyline happens off Earth. And even some of the toys seem to imply that with, the whole galaxy map and some of the exclusives and all the toys that wouldn't exactly fit on Earth, like Skylinks, Scorponok, the Quintessons, and a bunch of other store exclusives and generation selects. I definitely do believe that most of what I said here is gonna become true, because there's no way they managed to juggle all of these different factors, all of these different plot lines in, the series. I think it makes more sense if we visit, one of these plot lines once per episode. Like, one episode is the mercenaries, another episode is the Quintessons, the third episode is like maybe an introduction to Unicron and the Decepticons finally catch up to the Autobots. The fourth episode we actually arrived on Earth and scanned the vehicle modes. Fifth episode, I don't know, and sixth episode is just the final fight for like the Allspark on Earth or whatever. The Erthrise Netflix series is not going to appear for a long time, so we have plenty of time to speculate. And something that we also need to consider is that we're not entirely done with the Erthrise toyline. We're still getting reveals for new Erthrise figures. So if we start seeing more mercenaries or more Transformers that don't exactly fit on Earth, then it's only more fuel to the fire and I get proven right. Or wrong, It wouldn't be the first time. But anyways guys, before we go, shout out to our patrons Morise Prime, Mateo, Mario Gordon, Christopher Prime, Stephanie Ballard, and the absolute madman himself, Jordan the Great, who donated $100. Thank you guys for donating, it's much appreciated, and if you guys want to donate to my Patreon, links will be in the description down below and in the comments down below. By donating to my Patreon, you get access to some of my videos early, you can request your own videos, you receive a shout out at the end of my videos, you can participate in some of my videos if you so choose, and you get a few previews of some of my new works that are currently in development. There are plenty of rewards that you get as a result of becoming one of my patrons, and I do plan to adding a few more in the future as time goes on and the patrons grow, but keep in mind that donating is entirely optional, because freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Thank you to my patrons for donating, it's much appreciated. And if you guys want to donate, you know what to do. So yeah, thanks a lot guys. Anyways guys, hopefully you enjoyed that video. Sorry if the editing for this video is not up to par to some of my, previous videos. What I'm planning on doing is that I'm going to be working on a really, heavily edited video in the background. In the meantime, I'm gonna release more, simply edited videos where I can just talk and tell you my opinions and stuff like that without putting that much effort, just so, I don't spend too much time in here and I can focus on college and like making other videos. You guys actually really don't seem to mind when I do this, so I'm guessing it's fine. If you're a patron, the Transformers Kill Cam video is already available for Patreon, so if you guys want to check that video out, either donate to my Patreon or if you already donated, the link's already posted on my Patreon, so you guys can go and check it out. I'm gonna upload that video maybe later in the week, so for those who are not Patrons, don't worry, you're still gonna see that video, it's just gonna take a little longer. Let me know in the comments down below your your own crazy Transformers Earthrise theories? Do you agree with my theory? Do you have a different opinion? Do you think that they're gonna probably increase the number of episodes? That could actually help, you know, juggle all these different plot lines pretty well, if you ask me. If the series is like 6 episodes longer, then I think they can really pull it off. But if it's only 6 episodes, then I think my theory has a stronger chance of, you know, happening. I'm not done making, you know, Siege and Erthrise videos. My next video is actually going to be talking about Transformers Kingdom and how's the transition from Erthrise to Kingdom gonna go. What's the plan? What's gonna be the factor that triggers that? So, you know, look forward to that. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, guys.